And speaking of training camps, someone told me that, I don't know if it was a training camp, but you did some training with Hans Niemann. Is that correct? Before the World Rapid and Blitz?
Uh-oh, rumor has leaked. Yeah, no.
How was that experience?
Well, so basically, Hans, I had a little training camp. Actually, it was before the World Rapid and Blitz and before Wijk aan Zee, with my second in Wijk aan Zee and another person who I like to work with, Vladimir Fedoseev. And I thought it'd be interesting. I don't know, I had been talking to Hans a little bit just to invite him over for a couple of days to play some Blitz games. So it really wasn't anything super serious, but he did come, I believe, after the tournament in London, and we played a lot of Blitz. I thought it was pretty good practice, but we didn't do much more actually. I believe he was pretty sick as well there, so he didn't have a lot of energy, and he would only show up in the evenings. And he was really, really strong in Blitz, so it actually was pretty good practice. But I think overall he was only there for 3-4 days, so it was nothing super serious. Just got to see his strength from up close.
Yeah, interesting. And obviously he's become such an infamous guy and a player and one of the biggest chess celebrities in the world, I have to say, in recent times. And not many people know him that well, but how would you describe him as a person based on your experience with him?
Oh, I don't know him that well either. I've actually I like to watch his games, but I've not been in touch with him a lot, and I just like to see his games. But honestly, as to his personality, I don't know him any better than other people, I think. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
But you also know Magnus well from before and working with him, and now the two of them will actually play in Paris next month in the semi-finals of the Speed Chess Championship. What do you think of that matchup, and do you think Magnus will play at all?
Yeah, well, it seems Magnus will play, at least judging. I've been following the Speed Chess Championships with great interest. It's one of my favorite events to follow in general. Always like to play Blitz, but also to follow Blitz, especially when Magnus is playing. It's always really a blast to see. So I also watched the interview, I think after he beat Arjun, I guess it was. Seems like he will play, judging from that interview, but of course yet to be seen. But if they will play, it will be really interesting. Yeah, maybe Hans stands a chance, but in general, of course, Magnus should still be a huge favorite in that matchup. But I think at least it's good for chess, maybe that these two guys, which have quite some history already behind them, that they're finally facing off again, like 2 years or something, or maybe 2 years, I guess, after
2 years, yeah.
After their infamous game back in St. Louis. So let's see how it goes. Hans has already been beating quite a few strong players recently in both Speed Chess and Classical, and I think he's playing a match right now as well. So this is like the pinnacle of
shape, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Although I think he didn't do too well on the World Rapid teams, although he did actually beat me, but in general he lost a lot of games there. So Hans is really unstable if you look at his games, but on his good days he can beat anyone. So let's see. Maybe I'll go to Paris just to visit, but if not, I'll definitely watch the games with great interest from home.
So how was your feeling? Like, how strong was he when you played him in Blitz?
So he was mainly playing a lot against Fedoseev and me, and what I can say is that his natural feel for the game is, in my opinion, extremely high. So he was having such a good positional feel, and only in time scrambles he would occasionally mess up. So, but yeah, definitely. Like I in general, like I consider myself to have a pretty good understanding, and if I lose, it's due to some irrational blunders or maybe I get mated. But he was actually able to outplay me positionally, which doesn't happen to me often. So he had a lot of natural strength coming from there. But in general, I find his games are sometimes very irrational, which of course made him suspicious to so many people as well, because he has huge swings in level. But when he's playing his best, he has a very good hand, as in that he really knows where the pieces belong, basically. And Also, he's very good in fighting in bad positions. If you look at, for example, his recent speeches championship matches against both Wesley or MVL, he had a lot of bad positions, but he was able to out-trick them in those complex but bad positions. So, yeah, but only the future will see where exactly he ends up.
Will be interesting to see.
I think actually that it's also, Magnus, he always liked the challenges, yeah? So this one will be like, not maybe challenge in a sense, like playing for the world title or something, but it's like more mental challenge.
Yeah, more high pressure.
I think it's a kind of, it's also like, besides the fact, I mean, he won everything. So he is the best player in the world. And I think it will be interesting also for him, besides the fact, okay, what happened before, but I think he likes the challenges.
Yeah.
And I think also he is favorite and so on. And okay, I'm more towards to Magnus to win. I mean, it's all from. But yeah, I believe it's very nice after this because he doesn't play the match for the world title and so on. To have these challenges is good because he will not be in completely. Again, as you said, it's maybe some like just waking him up from this normal routine, and so on. So yeah, but for sure, I think for the chess audience, it's maybe the most interesting match especially for amateurs and so on.
It's really challenging, but you have to for Magnus, it's not that big of an upside. It's like high pressure, kind of high risk situation without the big reward. Like if Magnus wins, he's always the favorite. But what happens if Hans should win? Then it's kind of a disaster. So.
But I think it's actually more about Magnus thinking what is his reward. I think Magnus will be, if you put him in that focus, I think personally, this win for him will be maybe bigger than some other wins. So I think he will be motivated and so on. So it will be, really interesting as Jordan said. I think it's really,
I'm looking forward. Yeah, that's all I can say. But.
Some coffee is coming, some sandwiches. Watching this, for me,
maybe a glass of wine. Who knows?
Yeah, wine for somebody.
And Borki, speaking of interesting, that's the only thing Kramnik is tweeting these days.